is my something to disappointment to disagree. Sometimes it sounds like I'm dissing rappers and dissing me. And if I did take the habit, I might have it till I walk like I just got some. This is when these guys the place on my game must forget some. I'm looking for my music from the world in the place from time, so leader of the decide to go calm goes toward the soul. Sometimes my future look like the toilet flow. Under the blood pushing, yes, I suppose it's supposed to blow. Running for the keys to that contract is more to go. Gotta keep it rolling and smoking, look to the way the power is still coming. Open up my book and like page for it, still coming. Still got the unique flavor. Still already from the never die spot. I still find it appreciated. Talk about myself in third person, the things he created. Should've opened up a new world, he knows the season there. I'm in the future so long, nigga, the things they so far. Back to the future, I'm running the fly. I was DJing with people said the one shit died.
It's a good book, man. Astronomy for Dummies. I love the For Dummies books. You know, I love self-help books. What's up? What up, what up, what up? Monkey Man 80, what's up? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know where you're from, let me know how old you are, let me know what you do for a living. By now, everybody should have had a chance to check out Lil Wayne's most recent album, man, the Carter 6. So I want to talk about the Carter 6. I also want to tell y'all a story about some real crazy shit that happened in my personal life over the past 2 years. But it depends on what type of crowd we get, how many people we get in here. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know where you're from, let me know how old you are, let me know what you do for a living. Don't be shy, talk to me, I'll talk back. Has anybody had a chance to check out the Carter 6? I've been wanting to talk about it for the past 3 days, but these live streams have been real dead. What happens is in the first 2-3 minutes, you'll get like 25 people in there. And then after about 4 minutes, like right now, there's only 7 people and 1 like. So, you know what I mean? It's hard to sustain like an audience and really have like a real interesting discussion, a heated debate, whatever you want to do. A spirited debate. I'm not sure exactly what the track list is, like the length of the track list. Still need to listen to it? Okay. Who are some of your favorite artists? Because that'll give me a better idea of how you will feel about the project. Are you a fan of Lil Wayne? Like, you like his music? The album, I've listened to about 13, 14 tracks. I'm not sure if the track list is longer than that, right? Not really? Okay, well, yeah. Well, if you're not really a fan anyway, then like you're gonna fucking hate it. You know what I'm saying? The Fireman. Yeah, the Fireman was the shit. The Fireman is one of my favorite Lil Wayne singles. I like The Fireman. I like Bottom of the Map. I bring it back to the bottom of the map. Ooh, I bring it back to the bottom of the map. I like that. I like I think Go DJ was cool. A Millie might be Lil Wayne's biggest hit. What you think? It might be a Millie. But anyway, man, this new album, the Carter 6, There's about 3 tracks that I really fuck with. Best bass song, yeah. Millie Knox. Millie was produced by Bangladesh, aka Chandre. Chandre is actually he's the brother of a female rapper named Shauna. Shauna was in DTP. And she's originally from Chicago. Besides Heavy from Gucci Mane. Chains Heavy. Okay. I like the track that I like Steady Mobbing with Gucci Mane and Lil Wayne. That's what. So Lil Wayne has a bunch of dope features and mixtapes and shit from the past. He hasn't been that active lately. He had a dope feature that he did with Benny the Butcher maybe a year ago. Anyway, man, I'm a fan of Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, this is my music you hear in the background, playing on the Bluetooth speaker, right? I just moved into my apartment. I don't have everything set up. Hold on, matter of fact, I can show y'all. For put it on a TV stand up, you know what I mean? Gonna put some covers and shit on it. And all I got in here now is just I got my bed, you know what I'm saying, my CEO executive chair or gamer chair or whatever, and my little setup or whatever. But I just got in here. I still got to bring in more equipment and really get like the studio set up so I can start producing. Got to get my laptop. Just got to get a bunch of shit. So anyway, I'm a fan of Lil Wayne. I'm an artist myself, underground artist. If you subscribe to the channel and check out the Fire Breathing Dragon Files playlist, you'll hear my music. You'll hear that I'm a lyricist, but I like rapping on trap beats, not just boom bap beats. I like rapping on all types of beats, to be honest. But Wayne's one of my biggest influences. Appreciate you. Appreciate that. Especially, I haven't been here that long. I've only been here about 6 weeks. So still getting adjusted to it, still gonna like fill it up and get it right, get it all the way right so it feels like my place, at least while I'm here. I try to save some money in this fucked up ass economy. So anyway, Wayne, I'm a fan of Lil Wayne. Like I root for Lil Wayne. And I wasn't one of those people that felt like it was his birthright to perform at the Super Bowl. Because that's naive. You know what I'm saying? That's not realistic. It's like, well, he's from New Orleans, therefore he should be performing at the. It's like, no, it's not about who's the artist. Wherever the Super Bowl is held, they typically never have artists from that hometown or from that city perform at the Super Bowl. That's not even a thing. Like, that's not really a thing. So I don't know why, like, there were people that really felt like, no, man, that's wrong, man. Lil Wayne should be performing at the Super Bowl. No, the fuck he shouldn't. And his latest album just doubles down. You know what I'm saying? All that shit does is just serve as confirmation. My next favorite artist under Wayne. Wayne's not my favorite, but he's like one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying? But my favorite artist all time, like just overall, as a lyricist and a songwriter and a hit maker, it's probably Jay-Z. But my biggest influences, like if you want me to give you like my big 3, my biggest influences as a songwriter, lyricist, and when it comes to like beat selection, it's really like Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, and probably 50 Cent. Those are probably my 3 biggest influences. But I'm a fan of DMX. I'm a fan of 38 Special. I'm a fan of Busta Rhymes. I'm a fan of Tupac. I'm a fan of Corrupt from the Dog Pound, Snoop. I'm a fan of shit, man. I'm a fan of Tyler the Creator. I'm a fan of Schoolboy Q, Kendrick Lamar, Ray Vaughn, J-Rock. I'm a fan of Big Pun. I'm a fan of Eminem was one of my biggest influences. I'm a fan of Redman. So, I listen to a whole bunch of motherfuckers. Yeah, I listen to a whole bunch of artists, man. I'm always looking for. I was just in the gym listening to Boldy James. No, Ray Vaughn. Or King Von? Nah, I wasn't a fan. I know who King Von is, but I'm 40, you know what I'm saying? So I was a lot older than King Von. I wasn't a fan of King Von, but I know who he is. or who he was. But Kanye West, Common, Twista. See, the first Chicago rapper that I really like was a big fan of was Twista. I'm 40, you know what I'm saying? I'm that old, you know what I'm saying? So I remember when Twista was like the hottest rapper from Chicago. Crucial Conflict from Chicago. I was a fan of Bone. Bone is basically from the area I'm from. I'm from Akron. Bone is from Cleveland. So they're right above us. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland is like 40 minutes away. So Bone was an influence on me when I was a kid. I wanted to rap fast and use the double time flow, and you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Wayne hasn't really grown or developed as a songwriter at all. That's the biggest issue. The sonics, the beat selection, the sound beds, like the soundscapes, I guess, that's the issue too. Nah, I wasn't a fan of Coolio. Coolio has a classic hit, Gangsta's Paradise. He has one of the biggest rap songs of all time. Ha ha ha, you look younger than 40 and hello. Or was just listening to you speak, very interesting. Aesthetically Jasmine, thank you so much. That's such a nice thing to say. That's such a beautiful thing to say. And I love your profile pic. And I love your name, Jasmine. I want to subscribe to your channel. Are you on any other platforms? Are you on Facebook, TikTok? Are you anywhere else? Because I would like to check out your profile. Thank you for the compliment. I got good genetics, man. Like my dad gave me pretty good genetics, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, that's only song. Yeah, Gangsta's Paradise. And he also, Coolio had another song that I like. It was, I'll see you when you get there. See you when you get there. If you ever get there. He had another song. It was less of a hit, but I remember liking that song when I was a kid. But yeah, you got to give credit where credit's due. If an artist has one, like Gangsta's Paradise is one of the biggest, most impactful songs in rap history. So you can't front on that. You know what I'm saying? You can't front on that. You can't act like it didn't happen. But I wasn't like a big fan of Coolio. But shouts out to Coolio, man. I know he passed away like 2-3 years ago. That's unfortunate. Seemed like he was a cool dude. But the problem with Wayne, man, is that he hasn't really developed as a songwriter at all. He's still rapping. It's still the same flow. Like he's rapping about checking motherfuckers, and he's rapping about cunnilingus, and he's rapping about how high he gets and like how big his blunt is and shit. But he's not really rapping about it. You don't get a real sense of like who is Lil Wayne in his early 40s. What is his life like in his early 40s? How does he feel about his relationship with Birdman? You don't really get an idea about that because that had to be like a traumatic thing where like you had this person in your life who was a father figure, your producer, your manager, your security, you know what I mean? And you have a very public falling out. And you had to file a lawsuit to get millions of dollars from him. You know what I mean? The whole world saw this, the whole world witnessed this. You don't really get a sense of how he feels about it. Thank you. I'm usually on here every day discovering people and anything that catches my attention. Y'all would definitely check out your YouTube channel. I definitely want to check you out. You seem very interesting as well. But yeah, you don't get a sense of who Wayne is. And I think that's important. Appreciate that. Yeah, check out the Fire Breathing Dragon Files playlist if you want to hear some good hip-hop music. The Only_Wallace playlist. There's also a playlist called Featured Playlist. Or excuse me, featured artists. The featured artist playlists are rappers that aren't me. Everybody that ain't me. So I got Nate Ball, I got Dro, I got Ali, Big Twit, just underground artists outside of myself. They're on that playlist. And I want to build up that list and start featuring more artists. So if you know anybody who got some good music on the underground, send them my way. And I want to talk to them. I want to, see if I can create a visualizer for him. I got my man Chisel. Chisel was like a brother to me. He passed away like 2 years ago. Close to 2.5 years ago. He's on there. So, but anyway, what up, gang? What gang are you? What gang am I? Shit, I'm what gang am I? The Yautja. I'm the Yautja. Stalking my channel. Hey, I like that. Hey, I like that. I'm a member of the Yautja clan. The Yautja, the Yautja clan. That's my gang. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know who the Yautja are, you ain't official. But yeah, man. So I listened to the album a few times. I listened to it at the gym. No, I didn't go to the gym. I listened to it while I was at work. I listened to it while I was moving furniture. I was moving furniture into my apartment yesterday before I took my daughters out on a date. We went and got lunch and went to go see Final Destination Bloodlines. But I listened to it over and over. There's 3 songs I really like. There's a song called Flex Up. There's a song called Written History. And there's a song called Loki's Theme. And I think the intro is cool too. Like Welcome to the Carter. It's cool. So there's like 14 to 15 tracks on the album. There's maybe 4 tracks that I think are cool. So that's about a quarter of the album, right? So if a quarter of your album is like okay, then that's not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like you want like at least 50%, 75% of your album to be, but it's all about the listener, right? It's all about what you like. You know what I mean? I grew, like Lil Wayne is only a couple years older than I am. He's like 42, 43. So I kind of grew up with him as a fan. I remember Lil Wayne from back in the day, like the Hot Boys and, you know, Wobbledy Wobbledy, Drop It Like It's Hot, and Bling Bling. And you know what I'm saying? Like I remember like the old Lil Wayne, like when Lil Wayne was a kid, when he had a baby face. Before he had all the tattoos, before he had the blonde dreads and shit. Like I remember that Lil Wayne. And there's some people I know that prefer that Lil Wayne. They think Wayne was better before he transitioned and started making mixtapes and became more like an East Coast lyricist type of a rapper. But I don't agree with that. I think when Lil Wayne, around the time Lil Wayne started the Carter series, the Carter 1, 2, I thought 3 was cool. 3 had big hits on it, but I thought the Carter 2, excuse me, was like the peak of Lil Wayne as a songwriter. Lil Wayne is in my town quite a bit visiting Lambo. He's so chill. Oh shit, so you're in Wisconsin? That's crazy. So Wisconsin is considered the Midwest, right? It's still considered the Midwest. I know it's northern, but it's still considered the Midwest, right? I'm in the Midwest too. Where she had performed at the NFL draft. That would have been cool. Yeah, that would have been cool. That would have been okay. I never met somebody from Green Bay. See, the internet, man, it's beautiful when it is beautiful. All right. But yeah, that's dope when you can meet people from all over the world, man, or places that you've never been or never really thought about going. Yeah, man, I was a fan of Brett Favre back in the day. I was a fan of Aaron Rodgers when he played for the Packers. Who else? I'm trying to think. There were some wide receivers that played out there that I liked too. There was some defense. I think didn't Clay Matthews play linebacker for the Packers back in the day? Yeah, man, that takes me back to when I was playing NFL Game Day. I was playing NFL Game Day on PlayStation back in the day, and that's when I used to play with the Packers a little bit. Yeah, Ahmad Green. Ahmad Green was a running back that played for the Packers. He might have been the best Packers running back back in the day. Yeah, so I remember where I'm from Akron, Ohio. I'm in Akron right now. That's South Arlington right there. But I'm gonna start doing more like travel blogs. I've done like live streams from restaurants. I did a live stream the other day. I went to the vape store. There's a vape shop right around the corner, or down the street really. I went in there, did some recording, did some shit. The clerk that was working, she was a real beautiful girl. Like she was in college, so she was studying French and like communications. But she was real cool. I asked her, could I stream in the vape shop? She was like, yeah, cool. She just didn't want to be on camera, and I wanted to put her on camera, not to be creepy, but just to, you know, I'm not beautiful, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to put a beautiful woman on camera, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Make shit interesting. But yeah, man. but I'm gonna start moving around and doing more streaming. But the Lil Wayne album, like right now, the internet is tearing his ass apart because it's just not like Lil Wayne was upset about not performing at the Super Bowl, and he basically validated the NFL's decision not to select him to perform at the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, and plus, it was just selecting Kendrick was really a no-brainer because Kendrick had a crazy 2024. Like, we might not see a rapper have the year that Kendrick had. We're not going to see that in a long time. It might be another 10, 20 years before we see that. Like, just how dominant he was last year. Yeah, I seen the comments on Twitter and Reddit. Just dragged him back. Yeah, man, and I'm a fan of Wayne. Like, listen, when I listen to my favorite, the song that I really had on repeat from the new album is Flex Up. I like when Lil Wayne is just flowing. And he's just, saying like little funny, catchy punchlines, little witty punchlines and shit. If you win a jam, he said something like, if you win a jam, I spend some bread, have some niggas in red, come treat your head like bologna and ham. Yeah, he said, if you win a jam, I spend some bread, had niggas in red, come treat your head like bologna and ham. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's catchy, that's witty. You know what I'm saying? I like when Wayne puts together like little punchlines and shit like that, wordplay like that. I like it, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, Flex, and then Flex Up is probably my favorite beat, my favorite like instrumental from the whole album. So I really gave it a fair listen, man. Like, I'm a fan of Wayne, you know what I'm saying? I'll always be a fan, but I'm also a fan of Kendrick, and I listen to Drake too. Even though Drake completely Drake had a meltdown. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it got to the point where he filed a lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he went and got lawyers involved. He brought lawyers into the shit. You know what I mean? He brought lawyers into a rap battle. So we gotta call it what it is. That's fuckery. That's clownish shit. But Drake is still Drake. You know what I mean? Like, he recently had, I won't call it a hit, but he had a song that performed pretty well. The Nokia song. That Nokia song, I think, was like maybe #1 on streaming for a couple weeks. And I even did a remix to it. I did a freestyle to it. It's on the Firebeat and Dragon Files playlist. It's called Nokia. Matter of fact, hold on. Yeah, this is the freestyle to the Nokia track. Being too hasty, you looking like a tasty. Forget me. That's a late fee. On a late night, I never silverback gorilla, not the A type. Ready for round 2, let me take it twice. Let me take a nibble. I'm the reason love hit you. And your water falls in the field like a bubble bath. Here we go. Descendant, no spam, trust issues. Your hard on torn up, I can fix you. I intend to. It's a prophesize, it's a prophecy. You on top of me. Remedy, it's me, you in the game, that's a trinity. Wallace. So yeah, like, I did a freestyle to a Drake track, and the reason I picked that track is because I like the beat, and on top of that, this was a song that performed really well. This is probably the best performing song that Drake released post Kendrick Lamar beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is his most popular song since the beat. So at the end of the day, Drake will be okay, but he'll always have this stain on his resume. He'll always have this blemish on his resume. But, you know, I don't know, man. But there's been a lot going on. Like, a lot going on in music. There's been a lot going on in my personal life. Listen, mental health issues, addiction, these things are very real, and these things can impact you. And like financial literacy and financial responsibility, or I guess, I don't know, fiduciary responsibility, all of these things are important, because when you don't manage your money properly, you end up in bad situations. So I had a situation where So I was essentially raised by my grandmother. My biological mother
Ups and downs, smiles and
was
cries.
she was a product of I'm a product of like underage like pregnancy, like teenage pregnancy. My biological mother was very, very young when she gave birth to me, right? So our relationship has never been a traditional relationship because she's more like a sister to me than my actual mother. And she's a woman that, you know what I mean? Like she's slow. She's slow. You know what I'm saying? Like she's slow. So, and I'm being transparent about these things because why not? Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Part of it is because yesterday I was moving furniture and I hired my little cousin, who's kind of like a little brother to me. I hired him and he was only with me for like an hour. I overpaid him. So I hired him to help me move some furniture. And he was telling, I'm not really involved in the family too much. Like I'm always, like I'm at the gym, or I'm spending time with my daughters. I got two daughters. I'm either hanging out with my daughters or I'm in the gym, the studio, I'm creating art, or I'm working on YouTube videos, like video essays, breakdowns, reactions. And then I work 40 hours a week, if not more, right? Because I got a day job. My day job is CNC programming, CNC machining, right? So that's my day job. So I'm always busy. So I'm not really around to hear like what's being perpetuated by like the rumor mill or like what's being said. I'm not really around for that shit. So my little cousin was telling me some things. I'm like, wow, like really? So I got out of an unhealthy relationship, right? And it's my fault because I wasn't managing my money properly. So when I broke up with my girlfriend at the time, I didn't really have any savings. I had my trade. What's up? Just talking about a little bit of everything. I was talking about Lil Wayne's album. Now I'm talking about like some shit I want to get off my chest for the internet, right? So just to be transparent, just to be honest with y'all, right? So I broke up with a girlfriend, and when I left, I didn't really have anything. I didn't really have like really anything. So I I left my girlfriend at the time. I left the apartment I was living in and paying rent in, and for a brief time, I was living with my mother. Now, I didn't want to live there because I'm a grown ass man. I'm too old to be living with my mother. But it was kind of like an emergency. Like I didn't want to get into like a domestic issue, so I left to go, kind of like recoup or go to like, go back to the drawing board to kind of like put things back together, put things back in place while I was at my mom's house. So while I'm at my mom's house, I'm being an adult, right? Like I'm buying food for myself. I'm a bodybuilder, so I eat a specific way. My mother has weight issues, right? She's overweight. I was trying to help her diet and lose weight, clean up her act physically, and it seemed like everything was okay. But what was happening is that now let me break it down. I was in the military, and in 2006 I was in Iraq. When I was in Iraq, if you had a son or a daughter that was in a combat zone, would you write them? Would you write them a letter? Would you write them at least one letter while they were in the combat zone? You probably would, right? Because that's what a parent would do. That's what I would do as a parent. My mother never wrote me when I was in Iraq. I was in a fucking combat zone and my mother never wrote me. Now, I didn't have a combat MOS. I was a welder, but I was in a combat zone. Like just because you're not infantry, that doesn't mean that you can't get fucking hurt. You know what I'm saying? While you're in the combat zone. So, but I wasn't afraid for my life when I was in Iraq. You're welcome. You're welcome. Some interesting things happened. Like there were explosions and IEDs and shit. There were some things that happened, but did I really fear for my life? Not really. I stayed busy. I stayed in the gym, and I ended up meeting my producer, a guy named Nick Gage. He's from Florida. I'm from Ohio. We linked up and we started making music. So I stayed busy making music and working out while I was in Iraq. But the fact is, my biological mother didn't write me a letter one time when I was in Iraq. And when I spoke to her about it, like she didn't understand why that was a strange thing to do. Because in her mind, it's like, well, I didn't know you wanted me to write you. Because when you were a kid, you didn't really talk that much. So because you didn't talk that much, I didn't think you wanted to talk to me. This is a parent talking to a child. She doesn't understand that she should be the one to establish the communication. She should be the parent teaching the child what healthy communication is. She should be setting the example of what healthy communication is as a parent. She doesn't understand this. And I'm not saying this, I'm not doing like the cleaning out my closet thing. I'm not trying to attack my mother. I'm just being honest, man, because there's been a lot of crazy things said about me in my absence. And it's offensive because it's an assassination of my character. And it's crazy when your own biological mother is assassinating your fucking character. Like, that's insane. So while I was in Iraq, I didn't get a letter from my mom. She said she didn't know that she should have wrote me a letter. Okay, whatever, right? I made it back in one piece, right? 10 fingers, 10 toes, I'm okay. While I was in the military, I started leasing my first car. It was a Dodge Stratus. It was a 2005 Dodge Stratus, my first car, my first brand new car. I drove that car from Texas to Ohio while I was on leave. And because I didn't want to go through the burden of driving from Ohio back to Texas, before going to Iraq in 2006, this was like 05 when I drove home on leave. I let my mother keep the car because she didn't have transportation. She didn't have her own car. She got to an accident. And I think she had some nerve damage in like her foot. So I felt for her, right? I felt empathy for my mother. So I loaned her my car for 2 years while I was paying the car note. And I just started leasing another car. So that's the financial literacy thing. Like I was intelligent, but I didn't have financial literacy. Like I wasn't taught how to manage money because it just wasn't instilled in me. So you learn things the hard way. You fuck up your credit, you rebuild it, whatever. So I've done extraordinary things for my mother, man. Like there's not a lot of 20-year-olds that can say like, yeah, man, I put my mother in a brand new car and I paid the car note for her. You know what I'm saying? So that was obviously like a good gesture, right? Not to put myself on a pedestal, it's just the truth. So I'm just giving an example of the relationship, the dynamic. I've done things for my mother. I've helped my mother out. So recently, cut to the present, or at least the recent history. While I'm living with my mother, I'm working as a CNC programmer and shit, and I'm going to the gym. I'm spending time with my children, and I'm being a responsible adult, right? I'm paying my mother monthly. Now, this is the thing, right? This is the thing about, and this is just the truth, right? And I'm not trying, like, I love being black. I love all people, right? I really do. When I was in the military, I met people from all races, all genders. When I was when I played football, I had teammates. One of my best friends was Brian Marshall. He was a quarterback and a safety and a kicker, white kid. One of my best friends growing up, Nick Konich, white kid. So Zach, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not racist at all, man. I really got love for everybody that has love for me. But the reality is a lot of single black women that started having like sex early and having kids early, they don't have healthy relationships, like romantic relationships. They don't have healthy relationships later in life. So what happens is because you don't have a good man in your life, you kind of want your son in a real twisted way. You want your son to basically be like your man. Like you want your son to like carry the burden that like a husband would carry as far as like financially, like insurance, and just, you know, the bills, things like that. It's very twisted. It's very unhealthy. It's very like backwards, but it's just the truth. It happens all the time. So when you have a roommate, right, that roommate doesn't suddenly make the rent increase. That doesn't happen. It's not like, well, I have a roommate now, so now the rent increases. No, that roommate is supposed to cover the expenses that they create. So what happens when a roommate moves in, right? They're going to eat food. So there's going to be more money spent on groceries. The electric bill is probably going to be higher. You know, the water bill, gas bill, things like that. The utilities are going to increase. The grocery bill is going to increase, but the actual rent stays the same. So as an adult, you should, especially if you're in your 50s, as an adult, you should be able to cover your rent as long as your roommate can cover the expenses that they're creating. Like they could buy their own food, pay for whatever expenses they create with the electric bill, that like that. So this isn't what my mother expected. Again, to just be completely transparent, my mother has a GED on her wall. She has a GED on her wall like it's a degree. Let that sink in. Listen, if you get your GED, that's just you being a responsible adult, right? Just like getting your license. That's just like getting your driver's license. That's just a part if you, I'm sorry, but if you put a GED on your wall, that tells me that you have low standards. Because the GED is just something that you need to do in order to get like employment. It's not like getting a fucking bachelor's degree. Like it's not the same. It's not the same type of effort. It's not the same type of standard. It's not. Getting a GED is something that you have to do when you drop out of high school. But it's not something that you should be like, it just, if you got different standards, man, I don't know. But a GED is not some shit. That's like putting your driver's license on your wall. You know what I'm saying? That's like putting your social security card on your wall. That's like putting, you know what I'm saying? That's like putting your birth certificate on your wall. Getting a GED is just something that you're supposed to do as an adult if you dropped out of high school. But it's not something that you should feel like, wow, I got my GED. You know what I'm saying? Like that. It just I don't know. That's just my stance on it. I think most people with standards would look at it like, yeah, it's kind of weird to put a GED on your wall. Because it tells me that you don't really have high standards for yourself. But anyway, my mother expected me to like pay her rent and the utilities at the same time. A lot of people dropped out, have decent jobs, so I'm not judging. Yeah, man. I mean, people that talk that like no judgment shit, I understand what they mean. Like, you shouldn't be cruel to people. You shouldn't attack people for their shortcomings and shit. You shouldn't do that. I don't think cruelty is okay. I don't think bullying is okay. I don't think cruelty is okay. But we live in a world where judgment exists. It's just reality. Like if you end up in a criminal case or a civil case, there's gonna be a judge presiding over it. Judgment exists, man. When you leave that, now you can be oblivious to it. You can block it out. You can ignore it. You can compartmentalize it. But judgment exists. That's just reality. Just every time you walk out of the house, if I was on camera right now and I didn't have a haircut and I wasn't well groomed and I wasn't wearing a clean shirt and I was in a dirty room, you know what I'm saying? And I had food all over my shirt and you know what I'm saying? I had toothpaste all in my fucking beard. Come on, man. You would look at me and be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would look crazy. So you shouldn't obsess or you shouldn't live your life to appease others, right? You should live life the way you want to live and do what makes you happy. If you want to be a fucking OnlyFans model and sell like foot fetish videos and shit, do that. If you want to play in the NFL, do that. If you want to be a DoorDasher, do that. If you want to get your doctorate and become and work in like neurology, neuroscience, if you want to fucking work for NASA, if you want to be a tax preparation specialist, if you want, you know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do. Exactly. You shouldn't be living to please others. But two things can be true. You shouldn't live to please others, but at the same time, you have to realize that you're always being watched. You're always being judged, even if it's not verbal, even if it's not being communicated. People are always judging you. Your coworkers, your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend, your parents, your relatives, people are always making judgments about you. Now, you can't really give a fuck. You can't have thin skin and really give a fuck, but you have to realize that it exists. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a big black guy. So if I'm walking around in like certain neighborhoods, I know that like the police might look at me like, oh, well, is he a troublemaker? I'm not a troublemaker. I don't have a criminal history, none of that shit. But I have to realize that I'm going to be watched a little differently. You know what I mean? Like if you got a female coworker and she comes to work and she's always wearing skimpy clothing, skimpy attire, she's always wearing yoga pants, she's always wearing like little like wife beaters and tank tops and showing her cleavage, she might not be intentionally trying to flaunt herself, but it comes across like she's flaunting herself. She might be a devout Christian. She might be a Mormon or some shit. She might be a sign. You know what I mean? She might be, you know what I mean? She might be a virgin. You know what I'm saying? But the way she's presenting herself to the world is gonna elicit, it's gonna draw out a judgment call. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so anyway, man. So I'm living with my mother. Things start to get interesting in October of 2023. My mother quits her job because she wasn't happy with the job she had. I think she was working for like Spectrum She was working for the cable company, the internet company, and she wasn't happy working there, so she left her job. The reason she felt comfortable leaving her job is because I was living there, so I could help her cover, I could help support her while she was looking for another job. But she's not telling the family this. She's not telling shit. While I was living with my mother, she's telling me that I can stay there as long as I want, and that she's happy that I'm there, and that she's so happy that I'm helping her lose weight and get in shape. Because my mother's had weight issues her whole life. She's been obese most of her life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to help my mother get in shape. I'm trying to teach her about, like, hey, these are complex carbs, simple carbs, how much sugar you should have, how much salt you should have, how you should prepare your food. I'm trying to be a good fucking son, because why not? You only got one mother, bro, so why not be good to her? Whenever I'm cleaning up in the house, I'm cooking for her, you know what I mean? I'm trying to be good to my mother. I would never leave a job without having known already, just saying I hate relying on other people. That's the smart thing to do, right? That's the responsible thing to do, Jasmine. So in October, my mother quits her job, and she's frantic because she can't find one, and the rent is due, and the car note is due, and all of these things. So instead of me just covering the expenses that I create, like the utilities and the groceries, I'm covering everything. So in the month of October, I give my mom $760, almost $800 just in that month alone. She doesn't tell anybody in the family this, but behind my back, she's telling people that I'm shortchanging her, and I'm eating up all the food, and she's eating me out of the house, all of this, right? But she's not telling people about her employment status. She's not. So in the month of December, I give my mom $600. Now, again, the rent in this particular house is only like $500. So half of that is $250, right? That's simple math. And then when you add the expenses in, I'm giving my mom about $425 a month. On top of that, I have 2 children, and I'm paying child support for my children, right? And I have a truck that I just bought, and I'm paying for repairs for my truck. So I'm making decent money, right? I'm making like $60,000, $70,000 a year, but I got other expenses on top of helping to support my mother. But she doesn't really fully understand this because, you know what I mean? She's, you know, my mom's kind of slow. My biological mother. I was really raised by my grandmother, her mother, you know what I'm saying? And my grandmother she's a much brighter, intelligent woman, you know what I'm saying? And these things sound crazy, but it's just me just being honest with y'all, man. I just want to be honest with the community. I want to be honest with my subscribers, man. I don't want to hide anything. Fuck it. So anyway, December, January, I think in January, I gave my mother about $400, and I was already in the process of looking for another place. I'm trying to move out because I can't keep paying her and then paying child support and then, you know, paying for truck repairs. I had to get a crazy story, but I got to go by. All right, bro. I appreciate you for stopping by. So in the month of February, I had to pay for some welding on my truck, the rear differential, basically the frame of my truck, the subframe, it was sagging. And I paid a welder to do some fabrication and support it so that it ran properly and that it was safe to drive. So I paid for that, and I gave my mother, I only gave her like $125, but I let her know, hey, I couldn't give you as much because I had to pay for my truck. I was completely transparent about this. She goes and tells everybody that he didn't pay me. He only gave me like $100 and he paid for his truck. This is the behavior of a really intellectually and emotionally immature person. Like, this is the behavior of like a child, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, well, how can you not understand? I've been giving you more than half the rent money all this time. And when I need to get my truck repaired, you don't understand, even though I communicated it to you clearly. The same way I'm communicating now. Like, if you listen to me, like, I'm clearly a good communicator. I know how to talk. I know how to express myself clearly and succinctly and concisely. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know how to talk. I know how to listen. So my mother, these accusations are being made about me, and I decided to just move out because it was just becoming unhealthy. So I tell my mother, I'm like, so my mother says, she sends me a text message like, hey, I'm drowning financially and it wasn't like this before. And I'm like, whoa. So you're making it seem like the way you speak is how it caught my attention. Appreciate that, man. You know what it really is? I'll get back to the story. When I was a kid, so I'm building a relationship with my biological father. We look alike. I'm darker and I'm bigger than my father, but we look alike. We got the same bone structure, and he's a little shorter than me, right? I'm like 6 feet tall. My dad's like 5'8". My dad is like 165 pounds. I'm like 215 pounds. So I'm just a bigger, darker version of my father. But my father, my biological father, spent most of his life in prison, like recidivism, like just going back and forth to prison, right? My dad is 57 years old. He spent about 40 years of his life in prison, just going back and forth to prison. So because there really wasn't a strong male influence in my home when I was a kid, I had football coaches, I had uncles, I had drill sergeants later on in life, but in the home, there was no real strong male influence. So when you're a kid, you kind of just grow up watching TV. You're kind of raised by the TV while your mother's at work, right? My mother was at work, working at restaurants, gas stations, doing what she could to support us. I'm not knocking her for that at all. I'm not judging her for that. But when I was a kid, I idolized Batman. And my idea of being cool was like being like Batman, being like Bruce Wayne. So I wanted to be like handsome and strong, and I wanted to be able to fight and be mysterious and be able to communicate and be intelligent and all this shit, right? Be like Batman. So that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of raised by like Batman. So anyway, when I move out of my mother's house, I still send her some additional money just to make sure she's okay because I'm not there. So in March, I sent her $450. Absolute favorite. Yeah, see, hey, I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you, Jasmine. So I send my mother $450, even though I don't even live there. I'm just doing that because it's just the right thing to do. And I send her a text message like, hey, did you get the money I sent? And she's like, yeah, I got it. Thank you, da da da. And then I go to my mother's house in April to check the mail. I'm not living there, but I'm still receiving mail. So I go there to check the mail. So in order for me to confirm that my mother was home so I can check the mail, we had to text message each other, right? We had to exchange messages. So what happens is at some point after April, my mother blocks me. Like just out of the blue, she blocks me. She blocks my phone number. Because I tried to communicate, I tried calling her and I couldn't get through. I'm like, what the fuck? She ends up telling people that I blocked her, even though there's a record of me texting her in order to come over and check the mail. The only way I could get in the house and check the mail is if I sent her a text message to confirm she was home to get into the house. So I couldn't have had her blocked, and I just sent her $450. Like I said, from October to March, I sent my mom $2,500. You know what I'm saying? Like more than enough to help out. But this isn't a woman with a very high IQ. She has mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? And she had a traumatic childhood. You know what I mean? Obviously, my mother got pregnant with me when she was 13 years old. So obviously, she had to have had like a turbulent fucking childhood. That's not normal for a kid that young to be sexually active and have a kid. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of twisted. It's kind of morbid. So anyway, but I'm trying to be supportive, but it's like I'm fighting the uphill battle. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to be supportive, but I'm being met with just a person that's not being logical, not being rational, not being reasonable. And it's hard to deal with that. So eventually the communication breaks, right? So I ended up, so my truck ended up needing more repairs. My brakes went bad. And I ended up getting into communications with my paternal uncle, my dad's brother. Now I'm not close to this man. He reached out to me on Facebook, and I came over, had a drink with him, and I let him know that, hey man, I need to get my truck fixed. And I'm kind of like couch surfing a little bit, right? Before I move into my place. So I'm staying over at I think from what I've heard so far, you've done so well, very proud of you, honestly. Hey, I appreciate that positive energy, man. It goes a long way. I really do appreciate that. I love that. So while my uncle lives in his dead mother's house, my grandmother's house, right? My paternal grandmother, my dad's mom. She passed away in like 2017, 2018. I was one of the pallbearers at the funeral. So my paternal family is really dysfunctional, right? Like my father spent like 40 years of his life in prison. My uncle's been to prison. He has a history of domestic violence, assault. My grandmother, their mom, my dad's mom, she was arrested like for like I think child endangerment or I think distribution, like possession with intent to distribute, like drug possession. Like, so there's been a bunch of, you know what I mean? There's been a bunch of crazy shit that's going on in my paternal family. So I've always been kind of estranged from my paternal family because I don't like being around that type of energy because it's going to bring out the worst in you. You know what I'm saying? Like positive people are going to bring out the best in you. Negative people are going to bring out the worst in you. That's universal. That's just across the board. That's universal. So I'm around my paternal family for the first time in a long time, right? And my father comes home from prison in like February of 2024. So me and him end up linking up in like in like June, and we went for a walk and we talked and we just kind of, there was really no animosity, you know what I mean? Because we're so similar. It's kind of like looking in the mirror, seeing an older version of yourself. For him, it's like looking in the mirror and seeing a younger version of himself. You know what I mean? So, and we still communicate now. We're trying to just have a healthy relationship. My dad, for the most part, is just trying to be normal. He's just trying to be normal. You know what I mean? Because he spent so much time inside. So he's just trying to just be normal and just age gracefully. You know what I mean? So, whatever. So anyway, while I'm living in my grandmother's house, now this house is a fucking death trap. Like it's like a bando. It's like a fucking trap house. You know what I'm saying? Like the locks don't really work. There's really no like there's no screens on the windows. There's raccoons in the walls. There's like rats and shit. It's infested. There's no running water in the house. So in order for you to, so you have to like you had to Instacart. You got to Instacart water in gallons of water. You had to have it shipped in because there's no running water. But there's gas in the stove, so you can heat up the water and you can clean yourself. And I'm only in this house for about 4.5 months, but that's too long because it's such a nasty situation. But I'm still working out, going to work, going to the studio, making content. I'm still trying to be as normal and productive as possible, but I know I got to get the fuck out of this house as soon as possible because it's just a filthy place. The house, the condition that it's the house, it's like living in a tree house. It's like living in a cardboard box, basically. You know what I'm saying? So while I'm in the house, my uncle and his roommate slash ex-girlfriend slash punching bag is a woman named Carla, right? I'm gonna just be completely honest. While Carla's in the house, right, she's starting to take a liking to me, right? She's starting to be a little too friendly with me, and it's making my uncle jealous because I'm the opposite of him, right? I'm younger, I'm fit. My uncle's not that old though. He's like 51, 52 years old. But he just doesn't take care of himself, right? He's an alcoholic, right? A chronic, he's a drunkard. He's a lush. He's a fucking lush, right? So he spends his days getting drunk and being unemployed. And he's kind of a mechanic. Every now and then he'll change somebody's brakes, change somebody's calipers or some shit, you know what I mean? Might change your oil. But for the most part, he just kind of sits in the front yard and gets drunk as long as the weather permits, right? So while I'm living there, there's tension starting to build because I'm there, and he knows that his girl, like she's flirting with me and shit. But I'm not interested in Carla because Carla, she's just not my type, right? She's not my type, but she's being kind to me, right? At least superficially. So around Labor Day of 2024, Carla and my uncle's name is Darius. They end up having like a fight, and she calls the cops on Darius, and he goes to jail for assault, right? Like misdemeanor assault. So while he's in jail from like August to October, me and Carla, or Carla and I, we're in the house together, but we're not doing anything. She's like flirtatious and shit, and being suggestive and innuendos and shit. But I'm not attracted to the woman. She's just not my type. You know what I'm saying? Like she's just not my type. I don't want to be mean and judgmental, but the bitch ain't my type. You know what I mean? So while I'm living in the house alone with Carla, the locks get. Carla wanted to change the locks. Now, did I physically install the new lock? I did. But it wasn't to like lock my uncle out of his mom's house, basically his dead mom's house, my grandma's house. It's not to lock him out of the house. It's because the front door lock didn't even work properly. Like you could lock the lock and you could still like jimmy the door handle and get in the house. So the front door lock didn't even really work. So the reason the lock and the reason this is being brought up is because things that were being said behind my back, they came to my attention yesterday when I was hanging out with my little cousin and moving furniture into my apartment. So I speak to my aunt, right? My aunt on my maternal side, my mom's sister, and she's telling me things that she's hearing because these are women in like their late 40s, early 50s. These aren't really career women. They're kind of on the phone, like doing the chatty shit, the catty shit, the gossipy thing, right? So I'm hearing things that I normally wouldn't hear because I'm not around to like gossip. I don't gossip anyway. So the locks were changed, but it wasn't to lock my uncle out of the house. It's because they needed new locks on that old ass house. And I'm alone in the house. So, but the perception is that I'm alone in the house. I'm in the house with Carla, and I'm just, I'm just knocking her down. But that's not happening. I never did anything sexual with Carla. So my uncle finally gets released from jail. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's like get a fucking life, right? So my uncle gets released from jail in like late around Halloween of last year. When he gets released, he comes back to the house and he's upset that I'm still in the house because I'm in the process of moving into my own place, but I'm just not there yet. So I got all my clothes, my shoes, I got my gun, my truck, but I'm not in my own place yet, right? I don't have my deposit for my new apartment yet. So I'm still in the house when he gets released. But he's not living there. I don't know where he's living. He gets released from jail, not prison. Excuse me, not prison, but jail. But I don't know where he's living at the time. And it's kind of awkward because sometimes I'm driving down the street and Carla's in the passenger seat of my truck and we see my uncle. We see him in the same neighborhood. And me and she and I are in the house and he's not in the house. You know what I mean? So it's weird as hell. But it's just a situation that I walked into. I didn't know I hadn't been around my uncle for years. So I didn't know who he was living with. I didn't know what type of history they had. I didn't know the nature of the relationship. I didn't know any of that shit. I just kind of walked into it because I needed somewhere to stay so I could save up some money and then get away from all of this bullshit. So finally, something real strange happens between Carla and I, right? Now, this is a house that doesn't have this. This is a house that doesn't have a working air conditioner, right? The house doesn't have an air conditioner. So it would get hot as hell in this house in like late summer, early fall. So I would sleep downstairs on the couch and Carla would be upstairs in like one of the bedrooms. There's a 3-bedroom house, including 2 bedrooms on the first floor and one in upstairs up the staircase. So I'm downstairs, and when it would get hot in the summertime, and I wasn't in the house that much, but at nighttime, you know, when I'm sleeping in the house, I would be on the couch under a blanket or under a sheet, but I wouldn't have any clothes on because it would be hot as hell in that house. I wasn't thirst trapping. I wasn't trying to seduce Carla, and I wasn't trying to, you know what I mean, get her to come to me or no shit. Like I wasn't trying to lure her into my trap or some shit. I wasn't trying to do none of that. It's just hot as hell in this house. And I'm only sleeping like that. As soon as I wake up, I put my clothes on and I leave this nasty ass house. So there would be times where Carla would know that I'm downstairs on the couch, right? And I'm downstairs on the couch. I'm laying down on the couch and I got my phone in my hand and I'm just watching, you know, YouTube videos or whatever. I'm watching shit on the phone and I'm on the couch. And there would be times where she would come downstairs and she would just be in the living room with me, like standing, like basically standing over me while I'm on my phone, and she would just be talking to me about like how Darius had like hit her in the eye socket with an ashtray a couple of years ago and gave her a black eye, and she called her ex-husband and her son, and she had them confront Darius, my uncle, and he was so afraid that he started crying and telling me all this weird shit that like she was from California and she was a blood, like she was a blood. And she told me she was from like Watts, California, and she came to the Midwest Yeah, like she would just be telling me because like we're alone in the house and you're talking about life and exchanging stories and shit. So she would be telling me things about like just like all of this crazy shit, right? About how she feels about the riots and how my uncle his dick don't work and he got to take pills and just shitting on him, talking about all of this shit. And there would be times where like I'm in the nude, I ain't got no clothes on, I'm in the nude and I'm on the couch and I'm under a sheet and she wants to talk to me, right? And I know what it is because, like, bro, any woman, any grown woman knows that when a grown man wakes up in the morning, what does he have, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does he have, right? Like, when a grown man wakes up in the morning, what does he have, right? You know what I mean? He usually has morning wood, right? So she would be down there, like, trying to talk to me and shit. And, she can see that, like, I got this fucking, she can see what's going on, right? But I never, So this is what happens, right? One day in particular, she starts talking to me about how much she likes to suck dick, about how much she likes to perform, like, fellatio, right? How much she likes to suck dick. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why does she keep talking to me about how much she likes to suck dick, right? So we have each other's phone numbers because I was picking her up from work and I was taking her to the grocery store, helping her, taking her to run errands. But we had never spoken about anything sexual, really, right? So on this particular day, she's telling me about how much she likes to suck dick. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, damn. So like, you're like a demon, right? I'm like, you're like a demon, right? Like you really like doing it. She's like, yeah, I'm like a head nurse, I'm a head doctor and all this shit. And I'm like, I send her a text, I'm like, damn, I'm scared of you. Like the slang, like old school slang, like, yeah, I'm scared of you. I'm scared of you. And she's like, don't be scared, proceed with caution. She sends me that text message and she sends that with the checkered flag emoji. With the checkered flag emoji, like, yeah, like, so I'm like, whoa. So I've been here for like 3-4 months. Now she's telling me like she wanna, she wanna, So I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? But I don't act on it, right? Because I'm not really attracted to the woman, and I'm a single male, and I'm seeing I'm celibate. I'm not really sleeping with anybody, but I am talking to other women. And I'm trying to get the whole personal training thing going. Because my day job, it pays decent money. You know what I'm saying? You can make like anywhere from like $25 to $40 an hour working as like a machinist or a CNC programmer, right? So you can make decent money doing it. You know what I'm saying? But like, you're not going to get rich, but you can make decent money, right? Lower middle class, whatever, right? But I want to do the personal trainer thing because I work out all the time anyway. And I like to work out with like, I like working out with women, no creepy shit. But if a woman wants to come to the gym and work out with me, we can do that. We're in the gym, so I'm not going to be trying to touch you or do no creepy shit. But I like to work out, and being personal trainer will give me a chance to have kind of a business that's my own business. On top of what I do musically, I know how to engineer. I know how to mix and master music. So I'm going to put music equipment, I'm going to put recording equipment in this apartment and start engineering and mixing and mastering in this apartment once I get everything set up. So at the time, to be completely honest with you, right? I've been honest the whole time. At the time, I'm still smoking weed, right? I quit smoking. I don't smoke anymore, and I don't drink anymore either, right? But I was still smoking weed at the time. Sometimes I would smoke some weed, and I would let, Carla hit the blunt, and, we would just, smoke a little weed, right? We were riding around going to and from places. So on this particular day, right, after she sends me a text message about like the checkered flag and proceed with caution, how much she likes to suck dick, I'm like, man, fuck it. I'm high. I'm like, bro, I'm about to go ahead and, I'm about to go ahead and get my dick sucked. You know what I mean? So I finally decide, all right, let me go and, let me just see what's up. So I go up the stairs and it gets a little touchy-feely, you know what I'm saying? Like, it gets a little touchy-feely, right? But once Carla gets cold feet and she lets me know that she's uncomfortable, I leave her alone. I don't force the issue. I don't get upset. I leave it alone. I actually started laughing because I'm like, well, why are you telling me? She's like, well, no, like, well, what are we gonna do now? Because like, I didn't know you felt that way about me. I'm like, woman, I didn't feel any way about you. You invited me to get my dick sucked. I'm a man. I'm a straight man. You know what I'm saying? I like, you know what I mean? So, and it had been a couple of months since I had been like sexually active. So I'm like, fuck, and I'm high. So I'm like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and get my dick sucked just because you made the offer. But for whatever reason, she got cold feet, and I didn't force the issue because if you force the issue, that's assault. It's assault. You know what I mean? And I'm not about to put myself in that situation. So I leave it alone, and I just kind of laugh at it, like, damn, well, you made it seem like you wanted to do this. Now that I'm here, you get cold feet. So it's like you're being like manipulative. You're playing coy when you're the one who invited me to get my dick sucked. But I don't get upset. Like I don't get mad at her at all. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of walk away like, all right, that was kind of awkward. That was kind of goofy. Fuck it. So I leave it alone. She ends up, now mind you, the whole time this is happening, my uncle, who she called the cops on, he's still not really allowed back in the house because of like a temporary order of protection, right? Because he assaulted her. But she didn't press charges and send him to like prison. But he was in jail for a few months. And this is an ongoing thing. They have like this unhealthy, like Tom and Jerry, Ren and Stimpy, Batman and the Joker type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? They're like fucking arch nemesis and shit, right? So, arch enemies. But once the thing happens between me and Carla, nothing really happened. But when that awkward moment happened, for whatever reason, she got uncomfortable. I think she just felt dumb or felt embarrassed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because she told me that she had some type of she has something going on with her reproductive organ, right? She has something medical going on. Because there were times where I would take her to the pharmacy to pick up medication. I don't know if she had like a cyst or some type of inflammation or some shit, but I think this is what really happened. She was attracted to me, but she was afraid that if it was time to really go through with it and actually have like intercourse, she wouldn't be able to do it. So because of that, you know what I'm saying? I think that's really what happened. You know what I mean? She got cold feet because she was afraid that if I pulled my dick out and wanted to fuck, she wouldn't be able to do it. So it got awkward for a couple of days. And the man that assaulted her, my uncle, her ex that was living with, hey, Zoe, what's going on? Hit the light button. Hey, what's up? What's up? So she gets uncomfortable and she invites my uncle back to the house, right? Even though I'm there. So my uncle comes to me to get a key to the house because she told me to change the lock. So she needed a key. But as far as I know, she doesn't want him in the house, and there's like a legal issue. Like if he's in the house, he can go straight to prison, basically, if there's an order of protection and he's in the house with the victim that called the cops. So he comes to me to get a key, and he's telling me that like I shouldn't be in the house. And I'm like, man, I'm not trying to hear this shit because he's been in jail this whole time, and I've been taking care of the house with this woman, and we haven't been sexual. But once the awkward shit happens, she invites him back to the house. So, but before that happened, a couple of days before he pops up in the house, he comes to me for a key while I'm sitting in the driver's seat of my truck. He walks up to the passenger side and tries to like demand that I give him a key to the house. But I don't know that Carla wanted him to have a key. So I hold on to the key. Not because I wanted to stay in the fucking house, but just because she had just called the cops on the man. And she fucking wanted the locks changed. So I don't think that she wants him back in the house. So I tell him to fucking scram, right? While I'm sitting in the truck and he comes to me talking this bullshit about getting back in the house. I just take my gun out and I don't point it at him, but I put my gun on the dashboard of my car or my truck, just to tell him like, hey man, get the fuck out of my face. I don't want to hear this dumb shit. Get away from me. I don't want to hear what you have to say, right? Because we don't have a healthy like uncle and nephew relationship, you know what I mean? Because he's just a bitch, right? He's just not a good person, right? Foul person. So when he's walking away from my truck after he sees my gun, he's like, well, I bet the police will get your ass out the house. He threatens to call the cops on me, even though I paid this man money. Like I said, when I came to the house, I needed him to fix my brakes. So I paid this man money to fix my brakes, and I'm bringing water into this house because there's no running water in this shitty ass house. So I'm bringing water into the house. I'm cleaning up in the house because I'm not going to be living somewhere that's dirty. The house was filthy before I got there. I clean up, I pay him, and I'm bringing food into the house, right? And this motherfucker threatens to call the cops on me after I paid him and supported him. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I leave the house, and then a couple of days later, I come back to the house, and I beat the shit out of my uncle because he threatened me, right? Like I knocked him unconscious. He has a broken nose. I was only in the house for a few seconds, right? I hit him with maybe 12 punches, and that's the end of it. When he's knocked out. When I leave the house, he's not moving, right? When he wakes up, when he regains consciousness, he calls the cops on me. I didn't know he called the cops on me. So 4 days later, I get arrested. I go to jail for 10 days. This is my first time in jail. I've never been in jail before. I go to the county jail for 10 days. I get out of the county jail. I go back to work. I buy another car because my truck got stolen while I was in jail. So my truck got stolen. My gun got stolen. Everything was in my truck. But in January, I ended up buying a Camaro, but the Camaro ended up being a piece of shit. So right now, I'm in the market shopping for another car now. So all of this crazy shit is happening. And at the end of the day, I hold myself accountable because I wouldn't have been in my mom's house if I had money saved up when I left my girlfriend. I wouldn't have been in my grandma's house living with my uncle and his crazy ass ex-girlfriend or whatever, roommate, punching bag. I wouldn't have been in that situation either if I had money saved up. So it's ultimately my fault. That's me holding myself accountable. I didn't have money saved up, so I ended up putting myself in harm's way. So, but the reason I'm recording this is just to be real. Like, I'm dealing with people who have mental health issues and addictions, and I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not perfect at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm far from perfect. You know what I mean? You can look at me and see I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I got old scars on my cheeks and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, I'm not perfect, right? I got a gap. I got a gap right here. I got a gap right here. See that? I'm not making myself out to be perfect, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not fucking perfect. I'm human. I bleed just like everybody else, right? But I don't have the issues that these people have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not addicted to drugs. You know what I'm saying? I've never used hard drugs in my life. The only drug I ever used in my life was weed. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm just focused on being on my Sigma male shit. You know what I mean? Just staying in the gym, staying close to my daughters, and focused on producing content, trying to monetize this channel, trying to grow this community, trying to promote other artists. You know what I mean? Like, I'm focused on all of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, yesterday, I went to the movies with my daughters. I took them to Pope, the smoothie bar. We had a good time. I really want to travel around, promote my music, promote my art, promote fitness. Just be positive, bro. Don't be positive because it's corny. Don't do it just for show. Don't do it just because it look good. Do it because the quality of life improves when you're on some positive shit. When you're on some negative shit, bad things happen. Like, it's kind of a no-brainer. But there's been a lot of interesting shit going on, man. So there's people who feel like I was wrong because I assaulted my uncle, even though he asked for it. He threatened me. You know what I'm saying? The man threatened me after I paid him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there are people that feel like, oh, because they saw his face after I was done with him. Like, I'm a large human being, and if you go to my channel, look at my shorts, my only_Wallace fitness playlist, you'll see me in the gym doing boxing training. Like, I used to box in the military. I still do boxing training. I'm about 6 feet tall, 210, 215 pounds. You know what I mean? And I box. So You know what I mean? Unless I'm fighting somebody who has experience with boxing or like martial arts or Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or you know what I mean? Unless I'm fighting somebody that can really fight, it's probably gonna go bad. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna end bad for him. And because I put my hands on my uncle and he was asking for it, there are people in the family that are like, "Oh, I didn't have to do that," and I'm trying to just be real with these people. I don't give a fuck how anybody feels about that shit. The motherfucker had it coming. My uncle's a piece of shit. He threatened to call the cops on me. He threatened to call the cops on my dad, who had just come home from prison and was in his own probation. He was trying to send my dad back to prison after just doing 20 years. You know what I mean? He was ungrateful about the money I paid him, disrespectful, he's a piece of shit. So I don't give a fuck what happens to him. You know what I'm saying? He deserved to get fucked up, and I fucked him up real good. But there are people like, and there's some people that's like, well, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at him for what he did. I don't give a fuck if you're mad or not. I don't give a fuck how anybody feels about what happened. I know what happened. But people say like, your truth, his truth, their truth. I'm not into that different versions of the truth shit. My concept of the truth is a surveillance camera. What was caught on camera? What actually happened? What factually occurred? That's the truth. So all of that, well, this is his truth. This is her truth. This is their truth. This is fuck that shit. The truth is the truth. There's no different version of the truth is the truth. And everything that I'm telling you is the motherfucking truth. That's what the fuck happened. Straight up. And I don't give a fuck how anybody feels about it. You run up on me, you either get knocked the fuck out or your ass is getting shot. Straight up. Like, my family, they don't really know. Like, there's people in my family that think I'm like an introvert or some shit. That's not really how I get down, bro. I'm just a very measured person. I'm a very measured person when I speak, and I'm a very observant person. I believe in taking people's temperature. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not an introvert, bro. Like, just I read books and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I believe it's important to educate yourself and keep learning. But I'm not. There are people that'll try to like diagnose or try to like label you that aren't really. They're not really capable or qualified to do that shit. It's like you can't really accurately assess who I am because you don't have the capability to do it. But at the same time, I like being a little mysterious. I do. I like being distant. I like being aloof. I like being away from the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get involved in bullshit, you end up going to jail. I went to jail for the first time in my life last November because I was around some bullshit. But anyway, I had fun rocking with y'all. I'm about to eat some real food. I will be back. I'm not going to be live streaming from the studio like I used to because I'm going to build a studio in my apartment. So this is going to be the new, this is the Bat Cave, basically. This is where I'm operating. This is HQ. This is the new headquarters. You know what I mean? And only_Wireless TV out.